All right. Welcome to Women in Nebraska. I'm Janae Lynn here with my co-host,
Shauna Dorsey.
and we are joined together with
Heather Holmes.
Yay. All right. Well, we say this every time, but in case you have not been a long-time listener, this is 10 minutes. It's unedited. We are in and out, and we talk about things that are happening here in Omaha, and we're thankful to have you here listening with us.
Yay. Awesome.
All right. So, Heather, we would love to hear about what you're doing in the world. Like, what are you up to? What are your passions? What would you like to chat about?
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks for having me. You are both women who I super admire in the community. So I'm just humbled to be here and really grateful to share this space with you tonight. One thing I'm really excited about right now and just passionate about is reconnecting women with their divine feminine and their cycles, like their natural cycles and how they work in business and in life, and bring that to what they're passionate about and what they need.
Oh, so I am fascinated by this topic because I'm learning a lot about times where I'm productive during the month, or times when I'm like, there are days when I feel like sometimes I can't get out of bed.
Right.
And recognizing that that's actually normal and
So
not something
normal.
wrong with me
Right.
has been fascinating.
Yeah. You know, I started a journey about 5 or 6 years ago where I was like, I'm going to slow down and listen to myself and my intuition more. And I started really like being turned on and excited about the difference between like masculine and feminine energy in our bodies. And we both have, all genders have both, right? We have masculine energy, we have feminine, and we can turn those on or off and play with them as needed. But I realized in my journey and story, just where I was in life, is when I was younger, I had to use so much masculine energy to provide, protect, to hustle, to make sure I was taken care of. And as I've gotten older, that has really, I think, fried my nervous system a little bit, because I think as women, we're not built like that, and that's okay. And so I started thinking, like, how do I feel and what is my cycle telling me? I'm really big on knowing, like, when do you ovulate? When do you bleed? And leaning into that with business and tracking my own cyclical nature with what I'm doing in business, and knowing if I need to rest her for 4 or 5 days when I'm bleeding, I'm going to be so productive the other 3 weeks of the month. And I always tell people, if you can like track and get off hormonal birth control and know when you ovulate, take all the meetings and you'll get yeses. You're like sparkly and you're energetic and your hormones are working for you. So if we could lean into our intuition a little bit more as women and honor that divinity and that like embodied love that we naturally have and can create, it's a game changer. It's like our secret magic.
So how does this work for post-menopausal,
Right.
folks who have had hysterectomies, those sorts of things?
Yeah, absolutely. So even though, say you're a woman and you've had a hysterectomy, right? You still have the energetic space of a womb and you're still cyclical. So you can still like drop into that space and listen. I always say before I make a big decision, I'll ask my womb, my heart, and then my head, and they all have different messages. So if you can get that like linear conversation happening within your body, it really helps. And I'm not postmenopausal yet, but I'm excited for that journey. I'm really big in like the maiden, mother, crone stages of a woman's life. And I think when you get into that crone phase and you've stopped your cycle and you stop bleeding, you're still cyclical, but now you have all this energy and power that you spent every month cycling and bleeding and ovulating. And now you have it to do any creative pursuit you want. So I actually think that's the most magical time in a woman's life, is like after the cycle stops, because now you have this untapped, unapologetic energy that you can use in any divine way you want. I'd say embrace it more. And I hope I'm there when I get to that point in the journey.
It's so interesting because I have known you for a while, and I would say one of the things that if I were to describe you without you in the room, I would be like, this girl can really like bring, like, you create what you want in your life in a way that I have not seen others do. And it's not from a force. It's not now, like if we talk energies, like a masculine energy, which I know a good amount from like corporate America and like that, but from like like I don't know how to describe, but when you're saying this, I'm like, oh yeah, this makes total sense to me as to how this has aligned for you. And I've been able to witness it in a way that I haven't put two and two together.
Yeah. And I don't want to make it like false, like, oh, it's so fun and it's easy and it's messy, right? And it's work and you stumble and you have to get in touch with your shadow side and embrace that anger and the messy parts of yourself that you don't always love, rage and jealousy and envy. And, but ultimately I think what I've found that's worked for me is you have to surrender. And I have a really deep faith, in God and the universe and, the way that I walk through life. And over and over again, the more I lean into that, the more I've found answers and the way to work in my own life. Yeah.
Very fascinating.
Yeah. I have a
love
tactical question.
Yeah, go.
So how do you suggest, like, how would you change some of your scheduling of things of the day to day, to adjust more around your cycle? Like, what are some like tactical kind of tips that you would have for folks?
Yeah. Well, so I like literally put it in my calendar and it's not private. It's public. My team can see it. And I'm really lucky to have a team that's like, do it, sis. Like you're hitting the goals, keep going, do what you need to do. But I talk about it with people, I've talked about it with my kids, but it's on my calendar, number one. So when I go to schedule meetings, I'm like, where are you at in your cycle? And I'll block out, the 4 or 5 days that I'm bleeding and move the meetings to the week before or the week after. I'll sleep in extra, I'll work from home. Or say you have a meeting, like this happens all the time, like you can't just stop life, right? And there's some really important meetings you have to do, even if you're tired, you have to show up. And so I'll talk to myself. I'll be like, okay, sis, like we got 2 meetings and then I'll put you in a bath, or we got to get through these like 3 things today. We'll take a nap. I'll feed you some soup. We'll have some Prosecco, like whatever you need to feel safe and comfortable. And it goes like ties right into another passion of mine, which is like live from pleasure. Like, what do I need? And sometimes, right? Like I could be bleeding and I have a ton of energy and I feel like super sexual and I'm ready and I'm energetic. Like everyone's cycle's different. And you might feel like crap when you ovulate, or, there's 2 other weeks in the cycle too, but those are like the 2 big main ones that I think people can resonate with. So everyone is their own person. So what works for them?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So speaking of work, what do you do?
Yeah, absolutely.
days?
So I'm the vice president of sales at Superb.
Okay.
It's a tech startup here in Nebraska. And it was founded by Molly O'Neill, who's just like an amazing rad woman, visionary. So fortunate to work with that team. And it's an app that shows open shifts in senior living communities
Oh, great.
to CNAs, CMAs, RNs, and LPNs. So like an Uber for senior living staffing. We're in Nebraska. We're going into Iowa next month. Just hired our first sales manager. So it's a great trajectory. The team's amazing. I actually just got back from a holiday over in Italy and I couldn't wait to get back to work. And they were so welcoming today when I got back.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And that's such an important need, because those open shifts they can cause, a lot of problems and issues for an entire team. So,
Yeah.
And my whole career's been in senior living, right?
Yes.
So I love older adults and I
Yeah.
want that consistent staffing and I want to take care of healthcare workers and facilities. So it's been a great fit for what I'm most passionate about.
Why have you had a passion for like senior adult living?
I think it's my dharma. I think it was something before I incarnated into this world because I didn't have great grandparents. I wasn't around older adults, but it's the only time I'm happy. So I just love, I always say I'm probably a 90-year-old woman internally, like I love end of life and that stage. So,
but you also love taking care of them. So it's not just like, I'm going to hang out. You are like always trying to make a change and improve situations from what
it's something I've
witnessed
had
from
to
the outside.
embrace too, because I don't love being like, I'm a caregiver, but it's okay for me to be soft. I've had, that's something I surrendered into. Like I can be soft and take care of people and love up on them.
Yeah.
What is one thing that you would like to leave with the women here in Nebraska? Like one message that you'd like to share with them?
Yeah, I'd say slow down and be authentic. When you're authentic, you allow other people to show up and share their stories. So just be you and you have a message to share and it's okay to talk about it.
Cool. Love it. Yeah.
Great. Well, It's been another fun time here on Women in Nebraska. Always just a pleasure to meet so many, or not even meet, just get to know people better.
Absolutely.
So thanks for being here.
Oh, it was my pleasure. This was fun. Thanks.
Yeah.